In the central part of South America, the Andes divide into two large mountain ranges, the eastern of tectonic origin and the western of volcanic origin. In between these two ranges is a vast high-altitude desert known as the Puna or Altiplano. At the southern tip of the Altiplano is the Puna of Catamarca province in Argentina, a volcanic landscape surrounded by the highest peaks in the Americas, reaching almost 7,000 meters above sea level. In this desert environment is a system of endorheic basins occupied by extensive salt pans and by lakes of amazing beauty. Frequently, these systems are associated with freshwater vegas and meadows, or bofedales. These diverse wetlands are true oases for all biodiversity in a vast matrix of high Andean desert. More than 15 years ago, a group of biologists from the Grupo de Conservación Flamencos Altoandinos, or GCFA, organized the first expedition to gather data in the high Andean wetlands and to conduct a flamingo census in Catamarca, putting these remote and spectacular landscapes on the map of science. The high Andean flamingos are emblematic species of the Altiplano wetlands found in Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, and Peru, and can be indicators of the natural and anthropogenic changes that occur in the Puna. Knowing the abundance of these two species and the condition of their natural habitats was the first step the GCFA identified to initiate a process of conservation of high Andean ecosystems. Of the 6 species of flamingos on the planet, 3 of them are in southern South America and can be seen in Catamarca. The so-called high Andean flamingos, the Puna or James flamingo, and the Andean flamingo are mainly restricted to the salt lakes of these high plains, although they can be found in lowland wetlands of Argentina, especially in winter. The Chilean flamingo has a broader distribution throughout the southern cone, from Ecuador to Tierra del Fuego, and from the central dry Puna to the Atlantic coast. Simultaneous censuses involve a huge effort in organization and logistics, requiring the coordination of more than 70 trained volunteers organized in teams of 4 to 6 people to cover the entire study area. In many cases, these sites are remote and uninhabited, and frequently there are no roads, so we have to follow tracks. These expeditions require at least 2 all-terrain vehicles per team, adequate communication equipment such as radios and satellite telephones, and the installation of base camps in remote sectors far from roads and villages. The continuous presence of the GCFA in these high Andean wetlands has allowed us not only to accumulate an enormous amount of scientific information about flamingos and wetlands, but also to gain the trust and commitment of the local people, engaging them in the conservation process. At present, the Puna and Andean flamingos are the only 2 of the 6 flamingo species in the world for which we have population estimates based on simultaneous censuses of complete coverage. Among the lakes in the Catamarca complex, Laguna Grande stands out as it has the highest concentration of diatoms, the unicellular algae that are the food of the Puna flamingo. In this lake, we find between 12,000 and 19,000 Puna flamingos. This is the second highest concentration of this species after Laguna Colorada in Bolivia. During the simultaneous census, we also record reproductive activity of flamingos. Breeding is a critical stage in all living beings during which they are very vulnerable and when most mortality occurs. Breeding success depends on several factors. Flamingos breed in colonies, groups of nests that are very close to each other. A critical condition for the establishment of a colony is the water level. In general, nesting colonies are in mudflats surrounded by water to protect from land predators. In Catamarca, we have found nesting colonies of the 2 species of high Andean flamingo in several lakes. Some breeding attempts fail due to natural causes, such as abrupt fluctuations in water levels that can flood nests. In some cases, colonies fail because of human disturbance. Laguna Grande is the main breeding site for flamingos in Catamarca. There, the Puna flamingo carries out all stages of the reproductive cycle, from courtship up to the formation of chick nurseries or creches, where chicks develop and fledge. In Laguna Grande, the Puna flamingo can use the same nesting sites and even the same nests in different years. At times, once the Puna flamingo chicks have left the nesting area, the Chilean flamingos have used their same nests. Flamingo chicks are fed by their parents during the first 30 days with a liquid secretion from the glands in the crop called crop milk. At about 70 to 80 days, the chick can feed itself with its filtering beak. This coincides with their first flight and the beginning of the fall season. The most common land predator at flamingo colonies is the Andean red fox, which can destroy a large number of eggs and kill several chicks when it enters a colony. But most of the predation is due to birds, and in particular the Andean gull. People still collect flamingo eggs in Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile. This has been a traditional practice in the indigenous communities and now is a sporadic recreational activity for some local people. In Argentina and Chile, collecting flamingo eggs is prohibited. The biggest threat to flamingo habitat in the Andes is inadequately planned and unregulated mining activity. In these high-altitude deserts, water is a scarce resource, and it's concentrated in these wetlands, particularly the freshwater areas like vegas and meadows, that occupy only 1% of the landscape and provide habitat for numerous species of birds, wild camelids like the vicuña and guanaco, and the domestic camelids, the llama and alpaca. These environments are the most affected by the developing mineral mining industry. In particular, the extraction and processing of lithium and potassium that demand large quantities of fresh water. In the Catamarca wetlands, tourism has increased dramatically over the past 20 years. This activity is frequently not regulated or controlled, and tourists receive inadequate guidance. They approach flamingos getting too close and disturbing them. Adventure tourism that's not responsibly managed also generates numerous tracks, damaging dramatically and irreversibly the landscape. The international simultaneous censuses, organized by the GCFA, established a regional baseline for flamingos and wetlands and prompted the formulation of a regional conservation strategy based on a network of important wetlands for the conservation of high Andean flamingos. The goal of the network is to achieve a sustainable and integrated management of the high Andean wetlands and associated ecosystems that are important for the conservation of the high Andean flamingo species, focused on priority sites. Currently, the network is made up of 21 priority sites, Catamarca being one of them. In May of 2008, Catamarca Province accepted the proposal of the GCFA and of Fundación Yuchan to design the Lagunas Altoandinas y Puneñas de Catamarca Ramsar site. This site is configured by two subsites, one in the north and one in the south. The Catamarca Ramsar site includes 4 important bird areas, or IBAs. Protection of the northern subsite was strengthened since the creation of the Campo de Piedra Pómez Natural Protected Area, a vast volcanic plateau of very unique geological origin. The protected area includes part of the basin of Puruja Lake, a nesting site for Andean flamingos. Both Piedra Pómez and Puruja also form part of a tourism route that draws increasing number of visitors. In 2009, we began working with the local communities of El Peñón and Antofagasta de la Sierra, aiming to include them in the planning of the Ramsar site. We organized workshops focusing on training and technical assistance. Together with the local community members, we developed a participatory conservation plan for the Ramsar site, designing and installing information signs at both Laguna Grande and Laguna Puruja. We developed an environmental education program and resources for local teachers to teach students about their local habitats and biodiversity. We published a book that narrates these shared experiences. Through our outreach work, communities develop skills to make informed decisions and have a voice in decisions that affect their resources, their environments, and their way of life. They defined the model of development they wanted based on sustainable tourism and taking the necessary actions to reject and control other destructive activities, such as the mining of sand or the presence of off-road tours in protected areas. The flamingos motivate and convene us to conserve the wetlands, along with all of the benefits they afford us. The GCFA's work has the goal of bringing different stakeholders, agendas, and interests together to promote the conservation, management, and sustainable use of natural and cultural resources of wetlands that are important for the conservation of the high Andes flamingos.